Eva. I think about you all the time. I will kill you both. I am coming for you. No one can stop me.
Those words and those threats were absolute psychological terrorism.
Oh, for nearly 12 years, actress Eva LaRue and her daughter Kaya, a young child at the time, were terrorized by a stalker. The FBI searched for years while the stalker continually threatened unspeakable acts of violence. Now Eva and her daughter are detailing their ordeal in a documentary called My Nightmare Stalker, the Eva LaRue Story, now streaming on Paramount Plus. And Eva and Kaya are both here with it. Thank you both so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
You know, I personally know the impacts of stalking. I've been stalked, and the psychological terrorism, as you say, I haven't ever heard it put that way, but that's what it really is.
It is. It's really a full body takeover because there's no, you don't feel like you can be safe anywhere. As you said, you had to move. He was following you everywhere.
And you've had to move twice.
We've had to move twice.
And he eventually was put in prison, but can you talk about what it took to get him there?
It took 12 years. We didn't know that whole time. Here's the irony. I was on a show where we were catching our bad guy
CSI
in
Miami.
43 minutes every time, every episode. And in reality, we did not have that technology that we were pretending to have for 12 more years. And the FBI really had their hands tied because he was not in CODIS, which is the national database for all DNA for law enforcement. And until the advent of 23andMe and Ancestry.com and GEDmatch and our two FBI agents who really were the heroes and created a brand new DNA technology, forensics genealogy, they were the ones who were able to solve our case in 2 weeks once they got the case.
Wow.
But 12 years later.
But this took so long. Kaya, you were a young girl, but there was a specific moment in high school that this got very scary for you.
It got really close, closer than I had ever had before in my life. Always, you know, everything was always happening, but it was at far away distance. You never knew where he was. But when he called my high school, it then felt like I was trapped. This was somewhere I was going every day. This is where my friends were, where my whole life was at 17. And it just turned everything so quickly on my head. I felt like I was just terrified in such an instant.
Can you both talk about how frustrating it is too? There's really this idea that there's not much the police can do until something happens to you.
Until something, I keep calling it the crimeless crime, right? Because the crime hasn't happened yet,
right.
But the threat of all of this violence is happening all the time, and it's all around you. You never know where it's going to be coming from. And so the police really can't do anything because nothing's happened yet. And then after 12 years, you feel like you're crying wolf. You stop talking about it to friends and family because you're like,
they start looking at you like, oh, okay.
Yeah, really? Okay. And what can you really say? I'm still scared. I'm still terrified. And it's still, 12 years. So you feel alone in it, too, because you're sort of isolated in this.
So that's Kaya, being, a young woman in this as well. Is this something you told her about initially, or how did the two of you kind of work through what was going on? Because I have to imagine for you, Eva, too, you don't want to scare her when she's young.
I didn't want the contents of those letters living alive in her head when she was little, because it happened when she was 6. But I mean, you can speak to how it has affected your whole.
I mean, for me, I feel like, and I'm grateful that she made me more aware that always, stranger danger as a child, but also that I did need to be extra cautious, more aware. And then as I got into middle school and high school, she then, started to detail what was being said, what I really did need to look out for. And, for myself, that affected every relationship I ever had. That affected my entire life. For my mom, there is a before for her of what life was like, kind of the innocence of that. I've never grown up with it before. I don't know what it's like. And now for me, my life is only after the fact, and I'm trying to still find what feels normal to me. What feels
still that hypervigilance that you always have. You're never free of it. I mean, he's already out of jail.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, is that, we're talking about he sent letters. It was so many years that went by. He finally is captured, but now he's out of prison. So what mindset does that put you both in? Are you still hypervigilant? Do you think that he's been treated? Is there?
I mean, I know we will probably be hypervigilant for the rest of our lives because he's out. That kind of mental health issue doesn't go away. It just morphs, or it becomes more concentrated. It becomes more violent. And at the courthouse, he said in his statement when he was being adjudicated that he was happy that he was finally in therapy. He was happy that he was finally on medication. But there's nothing making sure he stays on meds for the rest of his life, and there's nobody making sure that he stays in therapy the rest of his life. So,
I know, it's tough. I'm grateful that you did the documentary. I am a little surprised because a lot of people who do go through this don't want to share.
We almost didn't.
You almost didn't do it. So now that you did do it, what do you hope women or anyone takes away from watching this documentary?
Well, we almost didn't do it, and we realized why, because people just want, you don't want to poke the bear, you just want it, this part of your life to be gone and to be over. And so I see why people don't talk about it. But we just felt like it was so important because the forensics genealogy was a precedent. Our case ended up being a precedent-setting case for the FBI. It was the first ever case adjudicated with this forensics genealogy. So we really wanted our FBI agents, Steve and Steve, we call them Steve Squared, we love them very much, to really, get the props that they absolutely deserved. And also, we realized that nobody was talking about it.
Yeah.
We realized that nobody was talking about the terror, there's not even words in the English language to really, you went through it too, so you know that you don't feel safe anywhere.
No, and you have to change your routine and you move and you do all this.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful that you did it. I hope people watch and take away something from it. Thank you both so much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
We really appreciate it. My Nightmare Stalker, the Eva LaRue Story, is now streaming on Paramount Plus, so check it out.